Okay, so this is part 2 of my hospital stay. So the big thing, my mom has come out. She came out Monday night. My surgery was Tuesday. She's staying through Sunday. And I have to say, I don't know, there was a moment when I was like, maybe I can do this by myself. Like, you know, Becky could come after work and see me, and she's in a new job, which is why she can't take off days. But I have to say, there's no way I could have done this without her. The visiting hours were from 11 to 8, and every morning I'd be looking at the clock like, come on, 11. And part of it is just she became such an advocate for me of, you know, can you go ask them, whatever. You know, rather than pressing the nurse call button, and that would sometimes take 15 minutes when I just had a really quick question about something. And also part of it is just having someone to talk to and knowing someone was sitting there who was listening every time the doctors came in and the team came in and, you know, was kind of processing everything. And, you know, she told me I looked a lot better. I got up and walked with her a few times on Wednesday, but still slept quite a bit and was still really sore and, you know, had my IV in the whole day. She watched TV a little bit. You know, she read like 2 books or something while she was there because I was not much fun. I'm sure it was horrendously boring for her. And then Becky came at like 7 after she got off work. So she was only able to be there for an hour, but was still so sweet to see her. But by the end of that, I was just really exhausted. So that night was actually really hard because they'd been pumping so much fluid into me for 2 days at that point. And I'd had my catheter removed during the day. I'd gone to the bathroom once or twice, but later, you know, when someone came in from the surgical team, he explained it's called mobilizing your fluids. But basically that night I had to get up every hour and a half to 2 hours to pee. And so that was pretty horrendous. Like, you know, and I would fall asleep. And I have a hard time sleeping on my back, I think just because of my weight. I always find that I'm waking myself up from snoring. But I would, you know, laying on my back was already not that comfortable. I'm in a lot of pain. And then to get up, I had to call in a nurse. Or, you know, I would try to wait until they were already coming in to check my vitals so that it didn't seem like I was calling them as much. And there were buttons on the bed. It was one of these bariatric beds that would lay totally flat and then could move into a chair position, which was awesome. And I really appreciated the bed last night when I was home, trying to get in and out of my normal bed and up and down from the sofa, how great it was to just kind of fall back and then let the bed take you into lying position and not have to use any of your stomach muscles. So that night was really hard. And then also my roommate kept calling for a bedpan and diapers and every 2 hours herself. So between the two of us, and we never kind of got synced up, it seemed like every hour I was sort of awake and, oh my God, it's only 1:30. And then awake and, oh my God, it's 2:45. And awake and 3:30, when will the day end, you know? So the next day was Wednesday, and my mom came at 11. And I just felt so much better. I'd been on morphine on Tuesday, part of Wednesday. I had switched to Percocet on Wednesday afternoon, but only taken 1 pill, and then took one at night for Wednesday night. But then after that, I started feeling so much better and still really, really, really tired and sore. And every time I get up, even now, I'm like, oh, and I feel like I'm hunched over. Do you know what I mean? Like, my shoulders don't want to go back because I don't want to stretch. It's almost like I don't want to stretch or use my stomach muscles. So I'm like so hunched over when I get up, and I'm like hobbling around. But I didn't take a Percocet all day Wednesday in the hospital. I did 3 laps, the 250 feet or 500 feet. I don't know how much it really was. Just, you know, around the nursing station and back to my room. I did that 3 times by myself in the morning. Sat in the chair for about an hour. My mom came. I had a few bites of yogurt, but like seriously, 2 teaspoons of yogurt for lunch. But that was my first pureed food, and it stayed down fine. I didn't feel nauseous. My mom helped me take a shower, which is another thing that there's no way I would have been able to do without her. And I don't even know really if I would have bothered if the nurse was going to help me, because it's not something that I needed to do, but the room was so hot, and the bed was like, had plastic on it or something. So I just felt so sweaty and gross, and I was able to change into my own pajamas after the shower, which was really, really nice. I just started to feel like a little bit more myself. So my doctor came in and said if I had got lunch down fine, I could be discharged in the afternoon, that it seemed like I was on track for that. So lunch came at like 1, and it was really weird. It was like ground meat in, like, shaped into a hamburger. Like, at first when I opened the thing, I was like, okay, but it looks like 3 carrots, a ground beef patty, and mashed potatoes. I was like, how am I going to eat this? But then when you touched it, it was like the carrots were actually pureed carrots that had been, like, squirted, if that makes sense, into carrot shapes. And the ground beef patty was, like, pureed beef shaped into a ground patty. And it's weird because before the surgery, I was pretty vegetarian. And, I mean, I've been vegetarian for the past year, and before that, I've always, my whole life, been pretty vegetarian, and always preferring not to eat meat. And I did not hesitate at all to eat that ground beef. I mean, that pureed beef. Like, it tasted really good. It tasted just like it was pure protein and pure what my body needed. And, like, I don't know, I did not hesitate at all. Which I kind of suspected would happen in the last few weeks in preparation for the surgery. I've been starting to eat a little bit more chicken and starting to eat a little bit more fish, and kind of knowing for myself that I wanted the surgery more than I wanted, you know, to be a vegetarian. But that was really nice that I wasn't like, ooh, this is gross, whatever. Because I hadn't had just pure meat like that yet, really, in the last year. So then that went down fine. We were watching TV, and at like 2 o'clock, my mom's like, you know, okay, so when do we get to go home? Like, Dr. Pump said, lunch went down fine. When do we get to go home? And I was like, I don't know. So she went and talked to the nurse at like 2:30, and it turned out that Dr. Pump had left for the day, which is fine. But no one on the team was really sure that we could go home. And that's when I started to get a little bit nervous, because I knew, even though the bed was so fantastic and it was nice just resting, I didn't want to be in that room again for another night. And they had taken off my IV during the day. And so I just felt like I was, you know, a little more mobile, a little more free. And I knew that if I stayed another night, they were going to hook up the IV again, and I'd be going to the bathroom every 2 hours, and I wouldn't be getting good sleep. And, you know, I really wanted to see Becky. So, you know, but the nurse was like, well, you know, if you said you could go, I'm sure you can go. And someone from his team came in and said, yeah, I could go. So leaving then, of course, was another hour of waiting for the escort and stuff. And then the taxi ride home. My surgery was on the Upper East Side. I live on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. The taxi ride back was so herky-jerky and bumpy. And I came back and was just like, oh my God, like really in pain then. And laid down. And they're giving me these Cold-Aze stuff. I don't know, Cold-Aze stuff. If anyone has taken these sorts of things, please send me a message or comment me and let me know, because I have a lot of questions about it that I don't want to totally go into on YouTube. But I find them really nauseating. They're like these little packets, you know, it looks like creamer cups but bigger, of this stuff that I'm supposed to take to help me go to the bathroom. And so I had taken it in the hospital twice, and it just really made me nauseous both times, nauseated both times. So when I got home, I took it again, but I think I was trying to just like get it over with, so I drank it a little bit too quickly. And it's the only time since the surgery that I was like, I'm gonna throw up, you know. And so I just laid down, I took some deep breaths, like I tried to get through it, and it passed in like 15 minutes maybe. I felt like I was normal again. But yeah, I'm gonna have to be on those for a while. So message me if you've taken anything like this, Cold-Aze, so I can ask you some off-the-record questions. And last night was fine. I slept in my own bed. I couldn't get as comfortable even as in the hospital. And part of that is the bed at the hospital was like a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit down, feet up, feet down. And this is obviously just a bed, so I'm propping myself up with pillows. And in the middle of the night, my cat landed on my stomach, and I freaked out. Luckily, she didn't scratch me at all, but, you know, I had to lock her out of the bedroom after that. And so she was meowing and crying and scratching the door, which I felt really terrible about, but there's no way I can risk getting cat scratches on my incisions at this point. And hopefully soon I'll be able to lay on my stomach. I mean, I always sleep on my stomach, so I'm really hoping that comes soon. I can lay on my side now without too much problems, but I don't know. So that's it. Oh my God, I can't believe I blathered for that long. Now I feel like I need another nap. Let me know if you have any stories to share about like what it was like eating for just the first 2 days. Like looking at what my surgeon recommends, a quarter cup seems insane right now. I feel like I can get down like 3 bites, but maybe I need to like keep going and push myself a little bit. But I hope everyone is doing well, and thank you so much for the good wishes. Bye.